Hello, this short presentation is to help you understand the process of converting the outline that you created for your research paper into a rough draft. Before you actually get to this point, you should have completed your outline. That outline should already have all of your major points you're going to discuss, the body paragraphs that you are going to include in your paper, and also any of the actual notes that you are going to include within your paper as well. So all of that should be done before you actually get to this part of the process. The first slide you see here, this is the same example research paper that we have been using this entire time, the one about the printing press. This is the entire outline, and your outline at this point should look something like this. For the introduction up here, you at least need to have the thesis statement. If you want to have a little bit more there, such as if you know what your hook is going to be, then you can go ahead and have that in there as well. For each body paragraph, you should have what you are going to actually discuss there. So here for body paragraph number 1, you know the topic or the topic sentence is going to have something to do with the printing press, and then these are going to be the individual things that you talk about here with A, B, and C. And then you do have the notes that you have collected during your research process that you're going to put in there, along with any kind of works or the in-text citation that you're going to include with it. So all of that should have been done during the creation of the outline process. So that should be done. So now we're ready to take this outline that we have here and start turning it into paragraphs, turn it into an essay. So we are going to first focus just on this introduction. Now, a word of caution here. Some people, they have a hard time with introductions, and they are difficult. And I'm actually going to do a different presentation where I talk about introductions by themselves. But they can be a little tricky to put together. So I have found that some people find it easier to skip the introduction first and go ahead and just jump into one of these body paragraphs first and go ahead and write the body paragraphs all the way through, and then once they get done with that, they can come back and write the introduction maybe a little more easily. That's entirely up to you. Some people, they can't do that. Some people want to have that introduction done and then work on the body paragraphs and then the conclusion and so on. So it's entirely up to you. I'm going to treat it right now as you're writing the introduction first and then doing the body paragraphs, but you're more than welcome to skip it and go on to the body paragraphs if you like. So focusing on this introduction here, here's what we got. Over on the left-hand side of the screen, you have the introduction with the thesis statement there. On the right-hand side, I've taken the introduction paragraph from our example research paper and put it on there for you. And you can see with the part that's highlighted, that thesis statement, there it is for you. You know you need to get to that thesis statement, and you know that you're going to have to grab the reader's attention, give them the basic idea what you're going to discuss in the paper, and then hit them with that thesis statement. So with their hook, they set up this hypothetical situation and make the reader think. And they say, stop and think. As one is reading this paper, it's easy to take for granted the ability to read it as well as the ease of typing it. That gets people thinking about, how is it that I'm actually able to sit here and read this? Why is that such an easy thing? And that gets the people into it. Then the very next thing they discuss is the fact that Johann Gutenberg's printing press was invented around 1450 and how it made some of those things possible. And it gets people into it. And also notice they really only talk about the history of it, the fact that this is when it was invented here. In the introduction, there's not a whole lot of history. There's not a lot of biography about Johann Gutenberg. That's not the purpose of this paper. And then they finish off this introduction with the actual thesis statement. So that's how you can take the information that is in this part of the outline and convert it into this, which is your introductory paragraph. And then once you have that, you are ready to move into the body paragraphs. Or maybe this is where you're starting. Maybe you've decided to skip the introduction and you actually want to start with the body paragraph. So the part I have highlighted of the outline is body paragraph number 1. You can see that's the information we've collected for this outline, and now we're ready to convert that into a paragraph. And here is what you have. Now I'm not going to read through the entire thing, but The part on the left is the information we had on our outline, and the part on the right is what actually turns into the paragraph from the example paper. Now I'm going to walk through the different parts. So we know that this first section here, A, is going to discuss the Protestant Reformation. We have decided that in this body paragraph where we're going to talk about how the printing press influenced religion, we first need to define the Protestant Reformation. And here's how we do it. That one little bit over here becomes these couple sentences over here. And again, I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can do that on your own. But at that point, we've explained what the Protestant Reformation is. So now we're ready to discuss Luther and his beliefs. And the short little description we have on the left-hand side becomes this. Another couple sentences that summarizes what Luther and his beliefs actually were. And now we're ready to hit the main part of this paragraph, the main thing that we need to discuss, because we know that we were going to discuss in here how exactly did the printing press influence religion, and now we're ready to do it. We're going to discuss how Luther's success was actually due to the printing press, and we have two different notes from our research that are going to back that up, and you can see what it turns into there. I would encourage you right now to go ahead and pause this presentation and read what it looks like on the left-hand side and compare it to what it looks like on the right-hand side of the slide, so you can see how they were actually converting their outline over into this body paragraph. And once you have done that, you're going to notice that those two notes are not the only thing that they included over here. There's actually a lot of explanation where they put their own words in to also explain what they're talking about with those two notes. And that's an important step. You don't want to make the entire paragraph just your notes. That's not a great way to do it. You also want to be able to explain how those notes are actually proving your point of the printing press influencing religion. But this is the basic process that you're going to follow as you go through and convert your outline into an actual essay. I'm only going to go through just this one body paragraph, but you will probably see if you take a look at the example research paper and compare the outline from the beginning of it to the finished product that makes up the actual paper, you're going to see the same pattern is followed over and over and over again. And if you can do that during the writing of your own paper, you should be in good shape. As always, as you go, I would watch this presentation maybe a couple times, pause it, reread some things when you need to, and then if you have questions, make sure that you are asking during class. Thanks, and good luck with this next step in the process.